right, welcome everyone. I'm Katie Wallace, and today I'm talking about overcoming heartburn. This is a part of the Gut Health Series lecture through the Willie Street Co-op. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and the name of my business is Human Nature LLC. I'm located on the west side of Madison, Wisconsin. This talk is for health education reasons only and should not take the place of medical advice. So today's talk was actually prompted by a news article I read in the New York Times many years ago. Combating acid reflux may bring a host of ills. And the article was basically talking about how acid reflux or GERD are very common in America. And the common treatment of using medication has some pretty serious side effects, including malabsorption and anemia, which can have some pretty severe consequences for individuals. And it went on to say that, the meds aren't great and they have these side effects, which people should be aware of and sometimes concerned about. But there are a number of lifestyle interventions that are very effective against acid reflux and heartburn, but that most people don't want to do those. And I kind of came away from the article thinking, like that's kind of weird. Like I've been I've been working in this field now for over 20 years, and had worked with a number of people who were very interested in lifestyle interventions. And I thought I need to give a talk about this. So now, many years later, you're getting the newest iteration of this talk about how to overcome issues with the stomach and the esophagus. So basically, when we're talking about heartburn, heartburn is described as burning or pain in the chest area after eating or when lying down, and is often associated with acid reflux, although the two can be separate. Acid reflux or GERD is when acid or bile are irritating the esophagus. So it's specifically characterized by issues with things from the stomach bothering the esophagus. So, one of the things to keep in mind if you or a loved one are dealing with a lot of stomach or upper GI issues is that there's a lot of underlying causes. I've got some of them listed here, and before the talk, I was kind of digging into the newer research to see a lot of these ideas that I'm presenting as a naturopathic doctor are ideas in functional medicine and naturopathy that have been around for a while. And it's interesting to see that a number of them are getting tested now. So I'll try to share the newest updates on that. So first off, just lack of chewing. I think this is sort of an anecdotal cause that some people talk about and some people find is really helpful if they just slow down and chew their food until it's a paste, then they have fewer stomach issues and fewer digestive issues in general. There was a recent meta-analysis that looked at food eating time, like rapid eaters versus slow eaters, and they did not actually find any difference in terms of this helping people with GERD. But I would say anecdotally, I have met people where this does seem to help them a lot. So, I think we still need a lot more studies in this area to really understand it all. But it's worth talking about anyway. Lack of stomach acid or hypochlorhydria is another very common cause of stomach issues. And I want to call this out because a lot of people, if they have GERD, especially, think of it as being too much acid. And I would like to be clear that GERD is based on acid bothering the esophagus. And that may or may not mean that there's too much acid in the stomach. It might just mean that the acid that is in the stomach is not being handled properly, and thus it's bothering the esophagus, if that distinction makes sense. And there's a growing body of evidence showing that actually low stomach acid is behind problems with acid reflux for people, especially people that don't respond to the standard medical treatment. Lack of sufficient bile. So, bile is made in the liver and stored in the gallbladder. And many of the people I work with who have acid reflux will complain of the association between high fat foods and their symptoms. So, we'll talk a little bit about that, but that can have to do with bile flow, which is actually happening once the food gets past the stomach. Poor diet can be a cause, so I'll try to give you some guidance in terms of the best diets for resolving issues with the stomach. Dehydration can actually cause issues. So a lot of times when I'm working with people one-on-one, the first thing I'm going to do is look at their labs or talk with them about hydration. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Histamine issues. This is another area that not a lot of people have heard of, but histamine intolerance is a growing area in medicine. And basically, if your body is making more histamine, which is a chemical in the immune system, then that can provoke your stomach to make more acid. And so you might be having stomach issues because of an underlying immune system issue and kind of unrelated to what you're eating, for example. Food sensitivities can definitely cause a lot of stomach issues, and we'll talk about that. An impaired gut lining or leaky gut can be a barrier to overcoming your stomach issues. Poor flora or a poor gut biome is often also involved. So you kind of get the picture here that like there's a lot of different pieces here. It's not just one piece, and that's why sometimes people can be very frustrated when they've got acid reflux or heartburn and they're trying to work on it. Also, if there is reflux going on for a while and it doesn't seem to respond to different interventions, I'm typically thinking that the person needs to be tested for pathogenic infections. And many times they will be tested by their doctor and it won't get picked up because the test is not sensitive enough. So we'll talk about some of those cases. And then there can be structural issues with the sphincter between the esophagus and the stomach that can cause ongoing problems, and that can be addressed with body work and exercises in some cases or other medical interventions. And finally, stress. A lot of stress can really cause havoc on the digestive system because our nervous system has two components, sympathetic, which is like put your foot on the gas pedal and go, get things done, respond to stress, and parasympathetic, which is kind of like rest and digest and what allows your body to enable healthy and complete digestion. So a lot of times when people are under prolonged stress or extreme stress, it'll take a toll on the digestive system, and you just have to do some things to help the nervous system to be better integrated. And I talked a little bit about this last week when I gave the first lecture in this series, which was about constipation. We talked a lot about stimulating the vagus nerve. So I don't have anything prepared to talk about the vagus nerve today, since a number of you were probably in the lecture last week. But I'm happy at the end today if you guys want to enter any questions in the chat or want to talk about things, especially things related to the vagal nerve or stress, we can do that.